Peace and blessings, everyone. Welcome to Real Talk with Kasim. Real Talk with Kasim is designed to bring information and concerns of our community to the forefront. We here at Real Talk with Kasim, we respect the opinions and we value our guests. We value our leadership. We value the comment. We here at Real Talk with Kasim do not entertain gossip, nor do we entertain disrespect. We humbly ask that we all remain respectful towards one another at all times. We at Real Talk with Kasim aspire to inspire before we expire. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Peace and blessings to you all. Peace and blessings. Peace, Queen. Peace, King. Listen, first and foremost, we'd like to thank you all for tuning in to Real Talk with Kasim. You know and understand it's nice outside. You could be doing a whole bunch of other things, but you are taking your precious, valuable time and sharing it with us. And we truly appreciate it. Truly, truly appreciate it. Today is going to be very special. Talking about the radical and revolutionary dreams of our ancestors, our bridge over troubled waters. And we have superb queen who's doing a lot of work. You know, she's not one who's just sitting around talking about what's going on and not doing anything, like the sisters out here on the grounds, in the rooms, the sister in the buildings. It's powerful, powerful. And then, of course, you know, we have our doctor of information, you know, the King Marvin Walker and the Queen Javon Torres. Like, it's gonna be heavy. We know times are getting rougher for Black and other marginalized communities, whether it's Trump, Biden, Obama, Bush, Clinton, Reagan, Carter, Ford, Nixon, Lyndon Johnson. Regardless of the political party occupying the White House, the majority of the population live under conditions more akin to an outhouse. Liberation and freedom have never trickled down from the top. It's always been achieved from the bottom up and the relentless struggles of everyday people in local communities. The radical histories of Black and other marginalized communities are purposely left out of the history books. To know and understand these histories and the power that's in the hands of the people will lead to the end of this settler, colonial, capitalist, white supremacist, lawless nation. But today, on Real Talk with Kasim, I will have a discussion with the National Revolutionary Community Organizer. You hear what I say? The National Revolutionary Community Organizer. And we got our PhD, student of Black liberation struggle. We will examine where we are and use the radical lessons of our ancestors to catapult us to where we need to go. And with that being said, everybody to help me bring to the screen our brother, the King, Marvin.
What's up, good brother? What's up, family? What's happening?
Peace and blessings, King. How you doing once again?
Maintaining, man. Just maintaining. Trying to get free.
Brother, I'm going to ask you.
Hmm?
I'm going to ask you to bring the sisters to the screen.
Okay, well, Sister Siobhan Torres is from our beloved state of New Jersey, dirty South Jersey, and has been doing organizing, political, radical work for a few decades or more. I met her through my wife, and her story and what she's doing in these streets for marginalized communities is just amazing. And it's the exact work that we need to be participating in. Because as you all know, individuals don't beat systems. strong communities beat systems. And that's the internal work that we have to do. And she's doing that every single day, ladies and gentlemen. And so I thought it would be a great thing to bring her on this platform so she can kind of give us the model and the analysis from the ground up, because that's where freedom comes from. And the fact that she's doing things that we all need to be participating in and getting involved in, because nobody's going to free us. We ultimately are going to swing the first bolo for freedom. And she's ultimately doing that every single day.
With that being said, I want you all to help us bring to the screen our beloved queen, Sister Siobhan Torres.
Hi, how you doing?
All right now.
Peace, Queen. How you feeling, beloved?
I'm feeling good. How are you feeling?
Everything is going accordingly thus far. So as of right now, at this moment, we are okay. Sister, can you please do an introduction? And Marv set it up. Could you please tell us who is Siobhan Torres? Who's this sister that we're hearing about? Who's this queen? What is she doing?
Okay. Well, well, I'm homegrown Jersey girl.
Okay.
I would guess a little bit of background. I come from a long line of freedom fighters. From my fourth grade grandfather that ran away and joined the Union Army for the Civil War, all the way up to shout out to my great grandmother and my aunt Ethel, who is responsible for the Mount Laurel decision in New Jersey, which made a law where you had to put affordable housing in cities. I have family members that were Panthers. Uncle was a Tuskegee Airman, so this is in my blood. I guess you could say I've been a freedom fighter pretty much all my life, even though I didn't know what I was doing was considered radical because of the people I've been around. So I've been doing this work for, I would say, about 30 years. And then about 2016, I was doing work with Black Lives Matter, and we established Black Lives Matter in New Jersey. From there, we involved and we formed our own nonprofit, which is called Imperfect Village. And we are now officially a harm reduction center for New Jersey. And what we're doing is our model is a little different. We build our model so we're at the point where we're no longer needed, that we don't have to step in. The community steps in automatically. So that's our end goal for it. And we take a different approach to what harm reduction looks like, or to what, and we try to encourage more radical thinking within our communities. Things that people will not expect to be, they wouldn't consider radical. Just like, for example, like Black women just taking a rest, just being that in itself, or Black people in general, just taking a step back and just resting. That in itself is a radical act. So that's pretty much who I am. I'm a mother, a grandmother, community auntie. So that's pretty much something.
I know that's right. That's right.
Honesty, admiration, and upliftment is needed at all times. Peace, light, and love.
Sister, I'm going to ask you, let me say this too. For all those who seen the flyer, we had the Queen Shanu, who was going to be on the show as well. But what happened was the sister overbooked herself for the show. She had other things going on that she had to take care of that was vital important to her day-to-day. So she wasn't able to be on today. And it's okay. It's totally understood. It's totally to be respected. Wish that queen nothing but good strength. We wish that sister nothing but good energy. We salute the queen, and we're going to reschedule for her to be on the show. So we give love to the queen, Shanu. So, but I want to come in like there's people who have, I don't know where the mindset actually is coming from. But there's people now, I'm talking about Black folk, who have arrived to a point where they say, Slavery is over with. All this white supremacist stuff. I mean, white supremacist this stuff. That's what they say. White supremacist stuff. Why are we still talking about this? We know what to do. We more educated now. There's more technology now. We could do more now. Why are we still worrying about why are we worrying about white supremacy, and why are we still talking about slavery? We ain't slaves no more. We free. And I'm getting this a lot, and I'm hearing this often. So I would like to ask you too. Let me start with the sister queen. How do you feel about that? Like, in fact, for a son, to my point where it says how slavery impacts us to this day.
Yeah, I'm trying to watch my words because there's a kind of like colorful words I want to use, so I'm trying to watch what I say.
Bring
for
it.
one,
Bring
for
it.
one, okay, for one, it's bullshit. Slavery did not end; it just transformed. That's why we have the prison, the school to prison pipeline. Things that affect us now stems from slavery. Things that we didn't even know, or things that we are not aware of. For example, like the saying "a barrel of laughs." Everybody heard that saying, but don't know where it originated from. Where it originated from was from slavery, where the slaves were not allowed to be joyous or laugh. So when they wanted to laugh, they would have to run to the other side of the plantation and laugh in barrels. And that's where you get the saying "barrel laughs." For another example is like you come across like the parents, the black parents, and we all do this, and I've been guilty of it myself. Like you'll come across somebody and they're like, "Oh, how are your kids?" And the first thing out your mouth is "bad, getting on my nerves, do this, and this." That also stems from slavery because the mothers would tell the slave owners, "Oh, he's bad. Or my child's not listening. Let me keep them a little longer so I could teach them." They were saying this in order to keep their children longer with them. And we still do this to this day. And it's been scientifically proven that whatever happened during slavery has affected our DNA today. There's certain things like, for example, when black folks hear a sound, first thing we do, we look, we're quiet. That also stems from slavery. Because they had to be quiet, they had to watch out for the slave catchers. And then if that was the case, if slavery was ended right now, that explain why church is so segregated. Why is there gentrification still going on? Why is the redlining still impacting us? And so when they say it's bullshit, is because either one, they want to absolve themselves from their complicity in white supremacy, or they're just honest, like, and because some of our folks ain't Kim folks, and they will say it too.
That's
so
right.
like there's the ones I'm like Harriet would have put two in their butt and kept it moving, but so these people they have so it's like they're saying this to try to absolve themselves from the complicity, or like they're actually conditioned in white supremacy, so they're not going to say it still exists today.
Marv,
Yeah.
how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I'll just try to piggyback off of Sister Siobhan. I just can each and every day you look, you see that there are these constant attacks on our very history and culture. Even yesterday, I saw another executive order in regards to, the Smithsonian. So it's interesting that particularly, addressing black folks who say that, if that were the case, why are the enemy so hard pressed to try to eliminate any vestige of that particular history? That should tell you something just from the door, that if the enemy is trying to wipe out your history, that there must ultimately be something there. But also, there are various lessons that we get from our ancestors if we could just go back. There are many things that they've tried that worked and didn't work. So most of the solutions that we have are ultimately embedded in that very history that folks, for some particular reason, think is unimportant. But also, when you begin to think about the history as it's ultimately presented in books, most of the radical history that Siobhan was birthed in, most of us don't even get a chance to learn that because a lot of that is wiped right out of the history books. So we get individuals who are put in books in scattered forms, not connected to family, not connected to struggle. Think about someone like a Dr. King. Dr. King's world is isolated or captured or stopped for the most part in 1963. We don't hear much about him. And then there are questions as to why. Because beyond 63, the message becomes more radical, and more radical. From just the idea of civil rights, equal rights, human rights, to get to the core of the attack, which was the attack on the very system of capitalism. So this is why we don't even get to hear that. So to say that our history is not important is just bullshit, as Siobhan is saying. And no group of people shits on the struggles of their ancestors. Even this thing that was going around, I'm not my ancestors. And you know what? They're correct, but not for the reasons they think,
Right.
Because the ancestors bled, sweat, and fought for us to just have breathing room today. And those struggles are ultimately important. As lessons, we get to learn what we should be doing, what worked, and ultimately what didn't work. And no one of any level of consciousness even thinks for a second that there's some form of separation. The foundation of the nation is settler colonialism, white supremacy capitalism. It's the very same system that exists today and has never gone anywhere. And as Siobhan said, our clothes is just transformed.
Hey, Queen Siobhan, you said when we came on right before we came on the show, for everybody who's tuning in, welcome to Real Talk with Kasim. We have Brother Marvin King with us. We have Sister Queen Siobhan Torres with us. You said you didn't get no rest. And the reason why you said you didn't get no rest was what, sister? What have you been doing?
I was doing harm reduction outreach, providing Narcan. We had some folks call. They were having an overdose and they needed it. We made sure they got to the hospital, and we also made sure that they weren't harassed by the cops following, because that has been a habit of the police department. And we made sure after they were taken care of, they would make sure they were safe, made sure they had what they needed. And then I came home, and then I had my grandbaby. So I didn't come home until about maybe 8 this morning.
So, sister, we talk about the stigma of drug use and how it was weaponized against us, and what harm reduction looks like. Can you explain that?
What we did, I thought was very important for us to do, become a harm reduction center. One, because we're all Black led, mainly Black women led, but we do have Black men in our group. Because of the whole war on drugs and how it affected our communities, and how I personally have friends that's still in prison today because of some bullshit weed charges that they had when they were teenagers, because they were put in a place where they didn't have options for a job. So that's the only option that they had. And I wanted to be able to come to the people that use drugs and have it where it's not coming in. They're not coming in as a white savior. We're not coming wagging fingers. We're coming in as family. So when we address we don't even call them clientele or participants. We call them family. So our elders, we call them auntie, uncle. Our peers, we call them sis, brother, cousin. Our younger generation, we call them niece and nephew. So we use these words intentionally to foster our community, to foster our family with our communities. But the stigma that we've been going through right now is with harm reduction, because everybody thinks that is promoting drug use, which that's not the case. What we're doing is giving them options for safer treatment. So if they decide they want to stop using whatever their choice of drug, we're there to facilitate them transitioning to a facility. And we meet them where they're at. So if they're not ready, what we do is we provide clean stems. We provide syringes that also lowers the transfer of HIV, hepatitis, and the other bloodborne illness. We also provide sex kits for sex workers because of the stigma when it goes on for sex workers. We provide hygiene kits for the unhoused. And what we are totally mobile. We don't have a brick and mortar because we understand that a lot of our people that we serve, they're either well below the poverty line or they're unhoused. So we go to them. So, and our hours aren't the same hours because usually a lot of harm reduction centers, they're like 9 to 5, Monday through Fridays, the typical business hours. We work from 7 at night to whenever. Because at that time, for instance, let's say Trenton, once the food pantry closes at 6 o'clock, they don't have anything to eat till the next day. So then we're out in the street. We're not only giving supplies, we're giving snacks, we're giving blankets, we're giving them what they need to survive. So if they missed the pantry and they couldn't get, or the soup kitchen and they couldn't eat, at least they have some snacks there to get them through the night. They have snacks, they have water. We also started implementing candy as well, because why not? And also sometimes when people use drugs that get cottonmouth, or the candy actually helps them, and also helps with sometimes with the teeth grinding. And when we approach them, we don't approach them, like I said, like with finger wagging, or you don't have to fill out all these different forms just to get a hygiene kit. Like, we're here, this is what you need, we got you. And and this is what we strive to do, and that's how we set up. Like, we don't have the whole hierarchy in our organization. Is more like round everything. Everybody has a say. We have our core team that the committee that makes the decisions, but everybody has a say so. And we also listen to the community. That's our main thing. And one of the things that we're worried about right now is a friend of mine. I'm not gonna put her name out there because she's not here, but she sent information, because since we have to apply for grants, they sent us a thing where certain words, if you put these words in proposals or in grants, you're automatically denied. Words like marginalized communities, Black, DEI, equity, the words like that. But the word white wasn't on there. But if you put any of these words on there, or LGBTQ community, if you say women-led, marginalized-led, these are keywords that will keep you from getting funding. And that's one of the things that we're concerned about. Because right now we have funding from a great organization right now, but after 2026, we don't know where it's coming from. But we always looked at it as like, if you got nothing, I got nothing, we got nothing together. We were doing it before we got the grants. We're gonna be doing it after we got the grants. We're gonna make a way, because Black folks will make a way out of no way.
That's right. That's right. So, all our lives.
That's right. Absolutely.
And so that's one of the things we want to try to educate the community on, because the whole stigma of like drug use, and as again, like I said, because of the war on drugs, and how now all of a sudden it's a opioid crisis. It's an epidemic now. Now it needs to be studied, because now white folks are getting, even though they were still doing drugs at the same rate as Black folks.
Yep.
Now it's because now the upper middle class white people are overdosing on fentanyl and all this stuff. Now it's a crisis. Mind you, the drugs that flood into our communities, that didn't come from us.
No.
So that's one of the reasons why we decided to become a harm reduction center. And we wanted people to see Black faces out there in Black communities helping us, because there's a whole stigma about Black people and crabs in a barrel and all this other stuff. And we're trying to dispel this myth. Like, we are united. Out of anybody, and I don't care what anybody says, out of anybody out there, Black folks are more united as a community than anybody else. No matter what we do have our cousins that we don't really fuck with, but they over there. But as a whole,
that's right.
That's right.
And the whole Montgomery brawl was a perfect example.
Mhm.
of that, and how we are united. So our main thing is, and we want to change what harm reduction looks like. Again, we said a lot of people think it's like enabling drug use, but we also looking at helping them get birth certificates. That's a form of harm reduction.
Mm.
Helping them get bus tickets. That's a form of harm reduction. Helping them get IDs, because you can't get anything without an ID nowadays. Helping them with their resumes, helping them get their clothes for interviews, or helping them with their resumes, or even as simple as helping them open up a bank account. They the paperwork they need to do, either from homework. All of these that are forms of harm reduction, and we're trying to incorporate all that. Make sure like people that live in food deserts have access to fresh fruits and vegetables. Giving options for a community to when we do our food pantries. I'm sorry, I'm rambling because I'm really
Oh, we
passionate.
want you to go.
Oh, go ahead, sister.
We
Go ahead.
want you to go.
This is amazing.
Like our food pantries. We don't because I've been there. I've been unhoused. I've been going to food pantries with my kids. I've been struggling. I'm not gonna say I'm not struggling now, but I'm a little better off than I was.
That's right. That's right.
And I'm grateful for that. Thank the ancestors.
That's
But
right. I share.
but I remember going to food pantries, and they have these bags already pre-made, and they give you these bags. And if you're unhoused, how are you going to cook the chicken?
Right.
There's nothing.
Makes sense.
So
That's right.
what we do is we have options. That some people come to our Quaker House in Trenton, and they pick what they want. We have everything laid out. We don't bag anything. So if you want green beans, get the green beans. If you don't want lima beans, don't get them. You choose what you want. We also have something we call the Radical Rack, where we have clothes. As some are gently used, some are. We try to get new clothes. We even try to get gift certificates, because just because you don't have money doesn't mean you don't deserve new clothes. Doesn't mean you deserve nice things. So we have a very strict regimen of the clothes that we do receive and how we do that. And we also, I guess this is my grandmama in me, because any clothes that get donated, we don't. I'm not saying they don't wash their clothes, but I didn't see them wash it, so I washed them before we put them on the rack. So I guess that's like my grandmama and me coming out.
Right.
So these are the things that we. These are the things we do, and harm reduction also is sometimes just sitting down with your brothers and sisters and having a conversation. It's something like, "How you doing today?" Or just a simple smile. One story I hold close to my heart was we were doing outreach, and we seen a Black guy. He was just sitting there off by himself. He wasn't bothering nobody. And we was like, well, why are you by yourself? So I'm the type of person, I'm like, all right, I see you by yourself. I'm gonna come over there, but ask him, are you okay? That's me. So I went over there and I asked him, how's he doing? He was embarrassed because he was unhoused and he soiled himself. I'm not gonna give his name because out of respect for him.
Right.
So
we got him food, got him clothes, got him cleaned up. And then he just sat there and wanted to talk. And he was just talking about anything and everything. And any other time, people would have dismissed him as either he was crazy or he had mental health issues. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But at that moment, I see my brother who needed somebody to talk to.
That's right.
So we spoke to him. We spoke to him, sat there for hours. And he came back, I want to say maybe a couple weeks later. Come to find out, we saved that man's life. He wanted to transition to become one of the ancestors because he thought nobody cared about him. And just because we went over there and spoke to him in a humanely, we spoke to him as a human being, as a grown man, he realized there's people out here that do care for him.
That's right.
We have people like one of our new volunteers now. I think she's amazing. I got to get her a t-shirt. She's going to get me. But she was coming over getting our dinners. And one thing, I'm sorry, humble brag. Like we have our spaghetti dinners. We make it fresh that day. They ain't nothing frozen. It's fresh. Like we're not going to give you that mess. And plus, Black folks like to talk. So if we give them something that ain't right, Black people will say something. So I used to. So we have Ty, who is our cook, and he's an amazing cook. So she would come get spaghetti dinners, and she would like there's few folks that's out by her neighborhood. Could she take them out towards them? Well, yeah, go ahead, take them. And some people wonder like, well, how do you know she's not taking them for her? That's not our problem.
Right.
That means
Right.
there's people that might not be able to make it, and she'll take it to them. If it's hers,
Right.
well, guess what? Now she got 3 meals, so
That's
now
right.
she's not going to be hungry
That's
for
right.
3 days. So
Right.
we're not worried about that.
Right.
So
Right. That's deep.
so eventually she comes. We have a couple of them that come, and now she's a volunteer. So she comes to our outreaches.
Hmm.
We have one of our people. I'm trying not to speak their name because they're not here and out of respect for their
Understood.
privacy.
Understood.
We had our coat drive, and he was just walking down Trenton, didn't even know we were doing it, and me being the nosy person I am, and I guess it's the black mama, black grandma coming out. I'm like, boy, where's your coat?
Right.
And he was like, I don't got a coat. So we sent him over, come on over here. Went to the Quaker house. He got a coat, and he came back the next week and told us that was the first time he had a new coat ever in his life. And that was the first time he had a decent coat. And the way he smiled when he had, and it was a Sharpie coat too. But I'm sorry, I'm going off track. But
Oh,
this
go ahead,
is-
sister. Go ahead, sister.
it's just the way that reaction he had, that happiness he had, that joy he had. We gave this man black joy. Like we gave him something that he never had in his life. And that's what our end goal is. That's what we want to do. And we want to be able to have now our communities at the point where they're walking down the street, they see somebody, they'll do it themselves. We're starting to see it in the community.
Right.
And I know it's going to be a long time, but like as we're seeing it, eventually it's going to come to the point where Imperfect Village is no longer needed. We do. We also do radical things like I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to be saying it, but not like I haven't been arrested before. But like we've done guerrilla gardening, and we've done abandoning buildings, planting fruits and vegetables, and we leave them there for the unhoused or whoever come by in the neighborhood. They want some fresh fruit, go get it. We did have a few community gardens which got taken down by the city. There's been times like we have been harassed by like the police department for gang activity and so on and so forth. I'm like, what gang? What? Are you serious? Like, I'm a whole grandma. Okay. I was like, I ain't gonna say I ain't gonna beat your ass, but I'm not in no gang. I'm not affiliated. And if I was, so what? I wasn't breaking any laws.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's the things that we do with Imperfect Village and what harm reduction is and how we're trying to change how harm reduction, what it looks like.
This is fun. I actually have
Respect, love, honesty, admiration, and upliftment is needed at all times. Peace, light, and love.
Peace and blessings to you all. If you just tuning in to Real Talk with Kasem, we have the Queen, Sister Siobhan Torres on. We got, our PhD, Brother Marvin Walker, the King. And this has been, wow.
Yeah.
This is so inspiring. Like, one of the titles, a piece of the title was Our Bridge Over Troubled Water. And your organization happened to be one of those bridges. Of the mid, you are so inspiring. Your story is so inspiring, and I want to, I know, but I want to ask this because it just came in the text on my phone. How does that sister get it right? How does that sister get the energy to do all of that and maintain her sanity?
Who said I was sane? But the work that I do, I don't look at it as work. I look at it as I'm uplifting my people. And when you're doing something that you love, it's not work. You're gonna find the energy. Like if people could find time to go clubbing till 3 a.m. and get up to go to that plantation job they got at 8 o'clock in the morning, I got the energy to get up and go do what I got to do, take care of my kids. Sometimes I bring them with me when we do our outreaches and we do this work. Because but again, we started off like at the political end of the spectrum,
right?
And we seen where it was going, and we basically see like nobody's here for Black folks but Black folks. So we seen where it was coming. So we was like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take our own time. We're gonna focus on our people, our community, and take care of us. Because at the end of the day, Black folks are always gonna be good. We're gonna be fine. We're gonna make it. And just like, for example, like during the Depression era, when white folks was losing their mind, losing their money, Black folks was out there buying Cadillacs and whatnot. Because one, white supremacy and racism that they said didn't exist. They weren't allowed to put money in the banks, so they had their money at home. And that's probably why your grandmama still got that coffee jar full of change. So that's what. So that's one of the things that we do, and I looked at, like I said, I started from the political side of it, and like I say, I'm not into the whole respectability politics.
Nope.
Those that know me know I'm quick to cut somebody out. I've been blocked by many politicians. Like I was telling Brother Marvin, like I recently, I guess a couple of years ago, just got charges dropped for like doing actions. Well, I can talk about it now because it's dropped. Like taking over a bridge in Houston, Texas, because to stop the oil companies because they wanted to put a pipeline through the Black community in Houston, Texas. And low-key brag, but they ended up costing almost like $300 million or something that worth of damages to Exxon and all them, and the hell with that. So there's a few. So like I said, I've been all over. Like I've been to like Santa Rock. I've been to Flint, Michigan. I've been to New Orleans. I've been to New York. I've done things where I help coordinate protests against racism in Boston, where we end up having like 50,000 people show up and like only 8 medics, and we had to make it stretch. So like these are things like I've like the first Trump inauguration, like I was chained up at the checkpoint to make sure none of them got there. Like we've been spit on, all that, like even to the point where Alex Jones was trying to get to us or whatnot. But thank God there was a lot of people that surrounded us and they kept us from being arrested that day. So like we went from there, and I was like, we need something tangible. Like we could be in the streets, and now I'm telling, like, because of this current election, like I'm part of the 92%. I'm on sabbatical, so I'm going to sabbat. That's all I'm going to do. Don't ask me to protest. Don't ask me to do nothing because you wasn't there November 5th. And I'm be anybody that's listening. If anybody says, "Where's Kamala?" She didn't get the job. Why she need to be here? She's rested doing what she got to do. This is y'all mess. Y'all clean it up. And I was, and the one thing I do love is how Black folks collectively was like, you know what? Fuck all y'all. Y'all on your own. I love how there was no Zoom call, there was no emails. Just Black folks collectively was like, you know what? We're good. We're gonna take care of our own. And I love where this is going for our people. And I wanted to, like, people that's listening, that the fact that we're telling you to sit your Black ass down, don't be up on the streets. That is a radical act as well, because we're always seen as cannon fodder for them. They wait for us to throw the stones because they want our bodies, our blood, our sweat, our tears to run the streets for their liberation. Because every time we fought for something, when have we got it? And it didn't benefit everybody else.
That's right. Yeah.
And especially like and this is what gives me, especially with people of color, like I'm not going off tangent, but this is
no. Right.
For example, like don't call me a person of color. I'm not. I'm Black. I'm black. If you ask if we're mixed, I'm mixed with Black and nigga. That's what I'm mixed with.
Come on.
Because
that's my new saying.
I'm mixed with Black and nigga. And the thing is, like, people of color, they always, because they keep thinking because their proximity to whiteness, it saves them. Like, for example, I was had a conversation with an Asian person because they was talking about how there was an Asian family that was fighting for civil rights during 1964 too, but what context was they were fighting to be considered white because they didn't want their child in the Black school. They omitted that.
Yeah, right.
So, and the thing is that there's a whole hierarchy with white supremacy, and it's always us at the bottom.
Yeah. Right.
And I guess they hate it because we're at the bottom, yet we influence the whole globe.
That's
Everybody.
a fact. That's a fact.
Right.
Sister, let me ask you this. Let me cut you off respectfully. I see that your last name is Torres. Am I correct? Is that a Latino last name, or is Torres, or is it Torres? Like,
oh, Afro Latino.
Say that again.
Afro Latino.
Okay, now oh my goodness, great.
I'm black.
The reason why I'm asking that, right, is because, man, so many times in schools this be said. Well, you know, we're gonna go over here and we're gonna go protest the store because they treat black people wrong. And then one of the individuals who's putting together the protest reach out to one of the Latino brothers, and then bring the Latino brother to the meeting, and then you got people saying to the brother who organized it, who's bringing the Latino in, man, why you always gotta bring the Latinos in? This is our fight. Like, we have to fight for ourselves. Why you bringing in them in? Just you talk to me real quick about that. Then Marv, I want you to talk about the same thing if I can. But I know Marv got some stuff to say to you as well.
As far as with the whole Latino thing, there are white Latinos and there are black Latinos. They might not want to admit that they're black, but they're black. They're niggas. That's all it is. And they don't want to admit it I'm sorry, my laptop.
Oh, guys.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Apparently, my granddaughter was messing with it without me knowing.
We know how that go. We know how that go.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So, but they're black, and they don't want to admit they're black. But then there's got those that admit they're black when it suits them. I'm a nigga all day. I'm black all day. Don't ask me for nothing else. I'm black. And if you say anything else, I might come up in your mouth.
Hey, we get like that. We get like that. We get like that. Talk about that. Marv, how do you feel about that, brother? Speak to me.
For me, it's always about which side of the barricade you standing on. And that's my determining factor. Either you're down with the revolution and the overthrow of this settler colonial society, or you on the other side. That's it. You make a choice. You're on one side or the other. Now, I understand that there are a lot of, this doesn't just come about where folks begin to just pick and choose, because there was a time when, listen, you were either black or you were white or you were ultimately other. But I understand that the particular groups that exist, there've always been Afro-Latinos who understood that they were down with us, and then there have always been those who understand, who've always tried to be on the other side. Look, we got black folks that particularly do the same thing, who take a class analysis and move based on their class and disconnect themselves from us. I mean, coming up, and Siobhan mentioned the idea of respectability politics. Coming out of slavery, there were a segment of black folks who thought that respectability politics was going to be their way of riding out of this thing. But guess what? White supremacy showed them that you nigger just like them. And so they couldn't move in terms of a class. They had to come on back home. And now understand that this is a race thing, ultimately, particularly in America. But I also understand that a lot of times these particular things are used, whether it's biracial or this or that. Those are ultimately terms that ultimately were created. And the reason that many of these terms were created, one of the reasons, is to drive a wedge into radical movements where folks were seeing themselves as simply black. In England, during the Black Power movement, you had Indians from India who said, no, we black, because they understood. So there were concerted efforts to kind of draw a wedge between various groups of people. So you mentioned particular Asian folks, yes. So in fact, they're used as the model minority, this whole idea of a model minority. And the reason is because in the 60s at least, instead of looking at the system as the issue, folks began to put it on individuals. Well, if they made it, you ultimately can make it. And sometimes we even buy into that. But the biggest thing about that community is that the largest gap between hold on for a second. Oh, sorry. The largest gap between haves and have-nots exist in the Asian community. So you see a few folks who are getting crumbs, but the majority of those people are living in poverty. But if you can, the system creates this myth that folks are ultimately making it on their own. And so that becomes a problem, because now these folks buy into it, and some of us buy into it, to believe that there are groups of people who ultimately are making it, when the masses of people, now we're Black folks, so we start with the Blackness. Then we can begin to expand there. But, we start with Blackness and expand outward. But what I'm saying is that these particular groups of people can be used, if they're allowed, as a wedge to a whole ass radical movement in terms of Black folks and particular other marginalized communities. So it's a trick bag, and it's purposely done to divide. No different than, folks, I'm Jamaican. Yes, I'm from Trinidad. I'm from Ghana. All these particular things, yes, we understand that. But your blackness is a radical thing. I think Brother Butch Ware had kind of mentioned the idea that Blackness is a radical act, meaning that you've taken it. It was a term that was created to fight against a white supremacist system. So for me and for us, either you're down with that particular radical movement, or you're just on the other side. You become those folks who, go on that side. But as Dr. Clark used to say, once you go over there, your ass is going to stay over there.
Mm-hmm.
That's it,
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you a question, Sister Swan, because you mentioned that you all started this movement even without the funding you were receiving. So what would you suggest for individuals who would want to do the same thing that you and your organization is basically doing? How would they get a start without having the funding?
One is you can reach out to local stores, and they'll locally donate, or you can reach out and make collaborations with different churches. Mm-hmm. But anybody that wants to start out, because I only, to be honest, I only been doing this for about 3 years, the harm reduction. Right. But I want people to understand radical acts don't have to be huge. It could be something simple. It could be if you don't have the funding, but guess what? You have an extra roll of toilet paper, but your neighbor needs it. Giving that toilet paper to your neighbor, that's a radical act. Showing love to your neighbor, to your community, that's a radical act. Because especially as Black folks, the moment we open our eyes to the moment we close them, we are under attack constantly from everybody. Even sometimes, unfortunately, within our own, because skin folk ain't kinfolk. So I guess for radical, I think the fact that you're considering that is a radical act. And to think every things that are radical is not always about protesting in the streets or fighting Nazis or doing this, doing that. The fact that you're Black and you're here, that's radical. The fact that you are able to give yourself joy, that's radical. Like right now, the way the country's going, and everybody's out protesting, and Black people are learning new line dances and stuff. That line dance with the fan, I still got to learn it. That itself is a radical act. Right. The fact that Black folks are taking a step back and you need to learn on your own, that's a radical act. And the thing is, and a lot of people think that they're blaming Black folks because we're not here. But sometimes if you love somebody enough, you got to let them fall. And my grandma always said, a hard head would make a soft ass.
That's right.
Always. That's right.
So now their ass is getting tenderized. That's what's going on. And they need that. Because right now is not the time for Black people to be out in these streets. Now is the time for us to take care of our community. It's time to take care of us and work for us. Because again, they already showed you ain't nobody here for us but us.
That's right.
And the fact that And the thing is, and if black folks keep standing for everybody else, how are we going to stand for ourselves?
That's right.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So that in itself is a radical act.
And it's amazing because black folk love everybody. It's just that everybody don't love black folk.
Yes. They love the rhythm, but not our blues.
That's right. Yeah. Amen.
Right.
Amen.
That's
Amen.
Oh, I got some sayings from you today, sister.
I got a lot from my grandmama.
I got some sayings for you today.
But what to piggyback off what Brother Marvin was saying about like the other races and coming over here, like the whole bootstrap saying like pull yourself up by the bootstrap. Has anybody ever actually tried to do that? If grab your shoelaces and pull the fuck up, what happens to you?
That's a few.
Pull yourself by the bootstraps. Pull them up and see what happens.
Right.
I hate that saying. But
Right.
another thing is any non-black person, the person of color that's here, and they're either part of the minority left, everybody participates in anti-blackness for one. But they need to understand, and that's including black folks that's part of the diaspora. If it wasn't for foundational black Americans, y'all asses wouldn't be here to begin with. Your
That's a
asses wouldn't
fact.
be here to have these stores. You wouldn't
That's
be
a
ever here
fact.
to profile us while you're in these stores. If it
That's
wasn't for our families, our ancestors that did this.
That's right.
So so anybody else that's non-black that's sitting there watching, show some black folks respect.
That's right.
Because if it wasn't for us, you wouldn't be here. Everything that you get came off the blood, sweat, and the soul of foundational black Americans.
Mhm.
And the thing is, black folks are such a loving people. Sometimes I wish we could be a little more petty, but it's just me. Because, like, example, like the Civil Rights Act of 1964. They made sure they included other people in these legislations because they understood what it was like.
Right.
And then they go over here and they give us our ass to kiss because they want to stop. They want to cozy up to white supremacy, but then they end up what I call it the nigga wake up call. Everybody gets one. Everybody's going to get it at some point in their life. They're going to get it. So if they're Asian, they're going to get their Asian wake up call. If they're Latino, they're going to get that. Well, they're kind of getting that call now. But if they're any other person of color, they're going to get that call.
That's right.
And when it happens, what they need to do is look within themselves and stop asking black people. That's not our job to defend you. It's not our job to sit there and work with. That's not what we do it out of the kind of our hearts. Because we could just as well say, go fuck yourself. Bye. That we don't owe, this is what I want people to understand. Black people owe you nothing at all. The fact that you're even here, you should thank somebody. Give them reparations.
Yeah.
And it could be like buying on coffee, weed, whatever the black folk want. That's what they need to get.
Right.
But the thing is, like, that's what irks me so much is that everybody takes from us, but we don't get that respect. Because now, like, that we call. I think I see somebody was saying they need to go back to Ebonics because we have AAVE now. It's TikTok talk, or it's like an X speech. No, it's nigga talk. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
Right.
Like now we have people over in England talking about they influenced black folks with Nike. What? Do you know how many niggas get Jordans? Like black folks get Jordans in business. Like, come on. And this is what irks me. And then we get diluted. Then that is no longer ours. And we can. And so one thing is, we need to start gatekeeping more black folks because now our culture is so diluted. People think we don't have a culture.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not speaking about foundation of Black Americans because, like, folks in the diaspora, y'all do it too. Y'all want to say black folks got no culture, but you're sitting there talking like this with your little finger waves, dressing in juicy couture or whatever, acting like black women, and they say we have no culture.
That's right.
And so this is for everybody. I'm for my foundation of Black Americans, and I'm for black people in general.
Right.
But if you're part of the diaspora and you with that bullshit, you stay over here.
Well,
That's right.
So I'm telling my people, we need to
Honesty, admiration, and upliftment is needed at all times. Peace, light, and love.
Peace
Oh, you
and
remind
blessings,
me.
everyone. If you just go ahead, brother.
No, I was going to say that, as Sister Siobhan, it reminded me of the quote from John Henry Clark. He said, "The only thing black people owe anybody is an ass whooping."
That's real, and that comes from one of our master scholars.
That's right. That's it.
Peace and blessings. If you just tuned in, Real Talk with Kasim, thank you for tuning in. Listen, I have some strong moves to make with my little man, and I told the sister we wasn't gonna be on longer than an hour.
That's right,
brother. Listen, if you tuned in, nothing is guaranteed or definite. That's why we say inshallah, if the creator universe allows. But Sister Siobhan, you got to get back on here, sister, with a panel. We have to get you back on. And I thank Sister Michelle Walker for her husband reaching out to you, bringing, because Marv come to me here, call me, yo, cuz I know this birthday, and all I say to him, let's make it happen, right, Marv? Let's get it, let's make it happen.
Love.
Let's make it happen. And one thing for sure, he was right about you. Oh,
what's that? Oh, wait. What'd you say, Siobhan?
I told Michelle when the revolution comes, she's safe. I got her on the list. She's safe.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
Nah, but this is so appreciated because that is so needed. And I'm gonna, if it's okay with you, I want to have the sister give you a call who can help do what you're doing there all over, right here in the city where we live at in Passaic. It's needed. Is needed, but like some people have that idea or concept, like I need to do this, but something in them, they just need a conversation with somebody like you say, and that conversation will push them forward. That'll create a thrust to help them come from just the thought to putting in action, putting in the work, and that's needed. Is much needed. Like we salute you all. So what I'm gonna ask in our conclusion, Brother Marv King, PhD. Give us your conclusion for today's show.
Well, I just think that it was just wonderful having Sister Siobhan on the show to drop. She dropped a lot of drinks on us today. Strong drinks and some motivating ideas to get us moving. Because the bottom line is that Black folks have always had Black folks. So that's ultimately where it starts. As they say, charity starts at home and spreads abroad. We have to begin to ultimately do that work within the communities like Siobhan and many others are ultimately doing. And also, as she mentioned, the ideas of what constitutes a revolutionary act. Wherever we are, whatever we're doing, we may not do the grunt work that Siobhan does, but we can support it. If we have the material resources, then we support it that way. We can speak out against an evil as it talks about in the Quran. We can do all those particular things, and we can just say, listen, I'm just going to take it down. That's a revolutionary act, and it's extremely important. And I thank you, sister. One love always, and I thank you for blessing us with your presence.
Sister, before you even give your conclusion, could you give, for those who may want to get in contact with you, can you give them an email or something of that sense, or the organization where they can reach out to you?
They can reach out to either imperfectvillage@gmail.com or www.imperfectvillage.org.
Can you say that again, sister?
www.imperfectvillage.org. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to be me because it's like 4 of us doing it. So if you send an email, it's probably going to be me you're talking to.
Got you.
Absolutely, yes.
Sister, can you give us your conclusion? It's powerful. I got to throw my hand in the fist up to this sister. Yes, sir.
I just want people to know that, again, revolutionary acts isn't about something super huge. It could be the little things. And if you think about it, little things add up to a huge thing. Also that, like, no disrespect to Brother Marvin, because of PhD.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, you don't always have to have that PhD to do this work.
That's right. No
That's a fact. That's a fact.
I don't have a PhD. I'm an auto scholar, if you want to call it that. But it's just that you don't need that. You don't, whatever's holding you back, put that shit to the side.
That's right.
It starts with one act, and then it builds. So I hope that everybody would take this and sit with it, and eventually it could be, like I said, it could be either giving toilet paper, it's just saying hello to somebody.
Right.
That is a revolutionary act.
Mm.
Showing love is a revolutionary act, especially in the climate that we're in. I ain't gonna say a whole bunch of white folks, because I first say who you voted for before I talk to any white people. But but within our communities and with even with family, just that little act of kindness, that little act of love is a revolutionary act, and that can make you a radical.
That's
so
right.
that's what I want to say. It doesn't have to be big.
Sister said she ain't got a PhD.
That's right.
But I said she got a PhD. Power healer. I said power healer of the deaf, dumb, and blind. Ain't that something? You got
right.
it. So
Thank you.
I want to truly commend the Queen, Sister Siobhan, for coming on.
That's
like
right.
the work that you're doing, you actually are putting yourself in harm's way. And
But not for the next 4 years, I'm not. But
there you go, right? and his work is tiresome. Especially when you have a passion, it takes away time. Although, like you said, everybody's family, but it takes time away from your immediate family, and it goes unnoticed at times. Some people's like, well, you doing this for that one, you could have been doing this, and all you know how that rhetoric and that gossip becomes along with us as a people. And to wake up and to get ready to nourish yourself, and you get a phone call and gotta stop that or just take a little or grab it to go where you can't even relax and eat a meal because you gotta go and help someone else is a revolutionary act that often at times is not applauded.
Yeah,
so with us here at Real Talk with Kasim, we want to salute you, Queen.
That's right.
We want to tell you to continue. It make me almost want to have tears in my eyes because I love this. Seriously, like I continue to uphold that crown on your head, sister. Keep doing what you're doing. You have brothers and sisters, kings and queens that sending nothing but positive energy your way. We are praying for you and all that you do. And when I say you, I'm talking about everyone that's connected to you as a whole. And if it gets to the point where you need some grimy dudes, give me a call.
We can have a conversation about grimy dudes after, because I wasn't always an activist beforehand. I wasn't always a grandma. I can say that, but yeah, we can swap stories later.
No doubt. No doubt.
Oh man, sister.
That's right.
Praying for you.
That's
Thank
right.
you. I appreciate
Love
We are
always.
praying for you. Like we are praying for you, and we uphold you. You know, I often had this time, like, like back in the day, and we're not gonna get this misconstrued. You know, the Malcolm X's, Sojourner Truths, the Harriet Tubmans, the Dr. Clarks, and all them are amazing figures. You can never ever take nothing away from them. But they wasn't in my lifetime. They were in my mother's, my uncles, and don't get it wrong. We're not gonna get this misconstrued. I get a lot of information from them all.
Right.
But me, the ones that I look up to more so, the Marvins, is the Sister Siobhans. You know what I mean? It is the brother Al Tariq. It's the brother Big Zay from A Squad Better Radio. In my lifetime, you all are the ones who I look up to teach children. It can be rough. I've been doing that for over all these years. And those who are not in the physical school building that's out here doing it on the streets. Salute you all, but often at times a lot of it go unnoticed. But my thing is, they say, or it is said that you see a lady walking down the street, she holding a bag. She just come from shopping. She don't have a car. She don't have a vehicle. And she walking down the street. And while everybody's sitting there smoking a blunt or doing what it is they doing, they look at the city, the lady come down the street. Then when they get in front of her, hey, mommy, how you doing? How much respect do you really have for her? When you seen her up the street coming with that bag, you couldn't stop doing what you're doing for a few seconds or a few minutes to go up and get that bag and bring that down the street for that sister. We need to start doing more of this. And I also say, you have to free yourself so you can see yourself. And when you see yourself, you can be yourself.
That's right.
And because I got a host of glasses.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to point out when you was name dropping like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, I would respectfully ask you if you could start adding Fannie Lou Hamer.
Yes.
To that.
Yes.
Because the fact that's the person that I look up to because she was dark, fat, and what they would consider uneducated, and she put the fear of God in the president. So I would like to name her when I talk about people because they let the people know anybody can do it. You don't have to be educated.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah, that's right. You see, constructive criticism and checking, brother. I know you couldn't say all the names, and make sure that when you do say the name, include our queen, Sister Fannie Lou Hamer.
That's right.
So, and also our queen, Sister Fannie Lou Hamer. I did it, sis. Salute you all. And said, I'm telling you, I'm gonna be texting you. Marvin, tell you, I'll text you. And be like, yo, what you doing this week? We got a show doing this. If you can, I do that. I do that. But
if I got time, I'll be there.
That's right.
I appreciate it, sister. I appreciate. Oh, Shanu, hold up. There she go. Hold up. Oh, she says, "Peace, family. Being yourself is a revolutionary act nowadays."
That's right.
That's the sister. That's the queen right there.
That's right.
It's this, Sister Shanu. I told everybody earlier, or we told everybody earlier that you couldn't make it today, but we're gonna reschedule to get you back on. Reschedule to get you on in the up and coming. If the universal creator allows, if God allows, if Allah allows, we will make it happen. With that all being said, thank you all for tuning in.
That's right.
Sister, salute.
That's right.
Salute.
Really
Brother Marv, salute, King Cuzzo.
And I got to get upstairs because it's Giovanni's 18th birthday, and they're about.
Oh yeah, that's right. Everybody, yeah.
Happy birthday.
All right, no doubt.
So
all right,
everyone,
y'all, family.
have a good one. Stay in good spirits. And Sister Siobhan, like I said, you got my number now. Need me, call me.
All right.
All right now. All right, peace and love, everybody.
Thank you.
Peace, light, love, and liberation to you all.
That's right. All right now.
Peace, light, love, and liberation to you all. Thank you for tuning in to Real Talk with Kasim. The blessing has been an honor. We had the powerful sister on with us today, Queen Siobhan Torres. And listen, next Saturday, we'll be right back here. We'll be right back here next Saturday. Pardon me. We just we got to get a more stable timing, but we'll be back here next Saturday. I ask everyone to please share this live, and also, if you can, we're trying to take Real Talk with Kasim to on a whole new level, on a different angle, so the information that comes from the show can go global. But what I need all of you to do, please, I humbly respect and ask of you to go on YouTube, put in Real Talk with Kasim, and I just need you to subscribe to that. I need you to subscribe to that. We need 1,000 followers. We really way behind. We need 1,000 people. We need 1,000 people in order for us to be able to not just monetize it, but once you monetize it, it just goes all over the place. You know, all through the matrix. You know what I mean? To build the algorithm. So please go on YouTube, subscribe to Real Talk with Kasim. That's YouTube. So please subscribe to Real Talk with Kasim. With that being said, peace, light, love, and liberation. And because we were talking about radical acts, our brother, Al Tariq Hanna, you call Big Zay, Aloysius from H Squad Rebel Radio says this, and I'm going to say it today. It's just a revolutionary saying. And the brother says, and that's my bro, he says that wherever you go, take God with you. And in fact, let me correct that. That's what he says at the closing of the Big Zay and Precious Eve morning show. I didn't want to leave out the queen. Peace, queen. He says, wherever you go, take God with you. You hear that? He said, wherever you go, take God with you. And if you can't take God with you, then you shouldn't go. If you can't take God with you, you shouldn't go. One more time. Brother says, wherever you go, take God with you. If you can't take God with you, don't go. Peace, light, love, and liberation.
This is America. Respect, love, honesty.
Wash your hands, your hands. It just takes 20 seconds. Wash your hands, your hands. It's for your own protection. No exceptions, no objections. You'll make such a nice impression. No infection if you only wash your hands. And you're done. Scrub it up, dub, dub, dub. And you're done. Scrub it up, dub, dub, dub. You're done. Scrub it up, dub, dub, dub. All done. Scrub it up, scrub it up. All my people say scrub it up, dub, dub, dub. Scrub it up, dub, dub, dub. To the right. Scrub it up, dub, dub, dub. Scrub it up. One more time. Wash your hands, your hands. It just takes 20 seconds. Wash your hands, your hands. It's for your own protection. No exceptions, no objections. You'll make such a nice impression. No infection if you only wash your hands. And you're done.